Hello, welcome back to my channel, Thrifty Day. My name is Leah. I'm the creator behind Thrifty Day. Today's episode is going to be a flip through of my tag flip that I made for the Halloween Junk Journal Challenge hosted by Kia Creates and Inspiring Journals. I am a collaborator, but I'm also a daily creator. I have never participated in completely in any sort of challenge. This is my first one. So when I was asked to be a collaborator, I was excited. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. But I knew I wouldn't be able to make a journal layout every day. My life is chaotic, just like all of us. So my thought was, I'm going to make a tag flip. I'm going to try to hit every day. If I do, great. If I don't, that's okay too. But I'm happy to say I actually really did, because what I did was I streamlined the process. I decided that if I had time, it would be something really creative and fun. And if I didn't have time, it was going to be something very basic and simple. So the way I decided to do that was I have these sort of books. They look like books, but they're actually like storage containers. And I kept them on my desk all month. Anytime I purchased anything or did anything or had little bits that sort of reminded me of Halloween, I tossed them in here. I actually still have some things in here. And it just held all of my little Halloween odds and ends. And this was the bigger one. And then I also have this one that had like fabric scrap odds and ends. And so that way I would always have something to pull from to make a simple tag. Now, I even put like receipts in here or tags from things that were gifted to me or purchased. It all went in here so that I could just pull things out very quickly. I didn't want to purchase anything to do this. I just wanted to work with things I have, no matter how the outcome was. I wanted it to be basic and easy. I didn't want to overcomplicate it or overthink. And I'm really happy with the results. So let's get into the flip through so you can see. So the first thing I did was I got a large, this is like a 1.5-inch ring. I added some fabric and this cute little jack-o'-lantern bell. This is actually from my bric-a-brac scoops that are over on Etsy. I think I still have some of those available. And so I just grabbed one out of the scoop mix and I stuck it on there. This is actually technically a tag, so we'll get to that one later. And then my first tag, the day, was title page. These were actually tags I had made for Patreon. And so I didn't have to make anything. It was just left over. And so I grabbed one, the one that was left. I created these myself. And I did add the Halloween 2023 on there. And then I also printed out the actual journal challenge just so I could have easy access and sort of as a memory. Day 2 was Autumn Vision Board. And this was my Patreon collection for the month of October. I loved it. It was mushroom butter and butterfly themed. And so I just used scraps. This was a digital from Tanya Samuels that I used, some moss, scraps from the journals, and a little ladybug. This was for the fortune teller day, and I did nothing, but this was a fortune teller Esmeralda prophecy card from Main Street. I did not get it this day or this month, but it was rolling around my purse, I believe, for a long time. So I added this teeny tiny tag, and that was my tag for the day. The next one is Spooky Cinema. Nightmare Before Christmas is my favorite. It's a family favorite. Today is Halloween, and my daughter Hannah is Jack Skellington. I'll have to post a picture on my Instagram. She looks adorable. So I used this little Zero tarot card because Zero is one of my favorite Disney dogs. This is just some like sort of vintage film strip. It's by Tim Holtz, some of that lace scrap. This was a pressed penny from Disneyland. And I added that little doily on the back. And that was for Spooky Cinema. This one was for In the Attic. And if you'd like to see a longer process video for this, I do have one on YouTube. I loved creating this. This image with the dog is also Tim Holtz. A lot of these products are. And I loved creating this. And if you want more info on that, do check out my YouTube. This one is Myths, Legends, and Tales. And oh my goodness, it couldn't have been a more perfect day. This is Little Red Riding Hood. This same day, or maybe the day before, my daughter found out that she got the role of Little Red for her school production of Into the Woods. Little Red is her favorite character. Into the Woods is her favorite musical. She's a senior. It's a very exciting moment. So to create this tag was very, very exciting, and it will always have a special memory for me. The next one is Haunted Coffee House, and honestly, I had no idea. This was an old coaster I had from the Grand Californian Hotel here in California at the Disneyland Resort. I added this printable and some flowers, and that was it. So it's just a paper coaster. Easy peasy. The next one is Creatures of the Night. I don't like insects, but I was sort of inspired to do this because I did use these butterflies while I was creating some butterfly fairies. So I grabbed some of those wings. They are backed in book pages. I put it on that Tim Holtz tag and I just stapled them on there. Easy and fun. The next one is Ripped and Torn. I love pieces of fabric that are left over. I showed you how I keep little fabric swatches. So my Ripped and Torn, I just ripped up these fabric pieces and all I did was staple them, put a little Happy Halloween digital on there. I had her just in my little book, so I threw her in too. So that was for Ripped and Torn. And then the next one is Shipwrecked. I don't have anything piratey, but I did have this extra digital. So from like 2 months ago now on Patreon that I had saved, and it looks a little piratey. I don't know if you can tell. So that was sort of easy peasy. And I did a little bit of simple collage work just on the back. So that was for Shipwrecked. And then the next one is Eerie Island. And I'm telling you, a lot of things really just fell into place for this tag flip. I did a collab with Your Creative Studio, so you can actually find this tag process video here on YouTube. But the theme of the subscription box was like flamingos and like islandy stuff. And the theme was Eerie Island. So I just sort of made it look eerie. All of these items are from Your Creative Studio, and you can find that process video here. I'll link it in the description box down below. The next one is Abandoned Cottage. This one is very special because it is actually a peek into what a future collection will be. So I'm very excited about that. And I just made it like a little side pocket, very vintage Snow White, fussy cut from a vintage book. That's my favorite Snow White book. It's very 70s. It's a very 70s Wonderful World of Reading book. And I just put some words on there. And this is a vintage recipe card. Oh, sorry, I'm dropping it. And there's more of that vintage book page and some of my very favorite vintage fabric. So hopefully I can get that back in there. Yep, there it goes. And now the next one is actually Poison Garden. Again, I was kind of stumped. So this is from that same Your Creative Studio box. All I did was back it because I thought they were so pretty. So easy peasy. The next one is Vintage Halloween, which was my favorite. So this was actually some fabric I had used from one of my very first Halloween journal collections a couple months ago. So I just cut them right out of that fabric. I backed it with a little vintage book page doodle I'd been hanging on to, and that was perfect for Vintage Halloween. Day 15 was Coven. So I just used this witch with a cauldron. I think a coven is multiple witches, but I only had this in my stash. So that is what we went with. The next day was stained glass, and honestly, I had nothing, and it was a very busy day. So what I chose to do was once again use a coaster. I loved these. It was just from a little restaurant we went to. It's actually a Modelo ad, but I love it, and it represents Day of the Dead. And so rather than stained glass, I decided today was Day of the Dead. So that was just another way of me saying, you know what, I'm going to make a tag, and I'm just going to make it my own. The next day was Relics and Ruins, or maybe the other way around. So all I did was grab this little vintage playing card from my stash. I added this little vintage sticker. And so those are the ruins I decided to use for my tag for the day. The next day was Nightmares. And this was, I think, an especially busy week because I think I'm getting a little bit simple on these, but it was just sort of a nightmare-y looking happy, and I think they're both kind of happy, kind of demon faces. So that was for Nightmares. The next one was Lanterns and Candles. And this was my sister's birthday, actually. So I just wrote about my sister's birthday. It was a very simple tag, and it was a writing day. So I just wrote about all the amazing things she's accomplished. And happy belated birthday to my sister. The next one is Cozy Pumpkins. Easy peasy. These pumpkins, if you know me, are literally sitting on my porch. This one too. I purchased all of these from Target, and rather than get rid of those tags, I kept them, I glued them together, and now they are sitting on my porch for Halloween. So that was my tag for the 20th, which is Cozy Pumpkins. This was actually my collab day. You can see that full video. I had Creepy Carnival, but I actually decided it was more Creepy Cute Carnival. So even though I have a full layout, which you can see here on YouTube, I still wanted to make a tag to represent the day. And this is sort of in the theme of what my layout looks like. And this is inspired by the Bob Baker Marionette Theater. I used an image from their zine that I purchased at their theater. And I had a lot of fun making it. Cute little flower eyelet, little vintage ticket. That ticket is even off of the top of something, a magnet that I purchased at the theater. So that was Creepy Carnival, and it was my day. So that's a special day. The next one is Spellcraft. I thought these were perfect. They even came with the little eyelets. These are off of a blanket that my best friends bought for my daughter for her birthday earlier. And I thought that was really fun. So I just actually kept both those tags from that blanket for Spellcraft and put them both on there for the day because it made me think of my daughter, Hannah, and my best friends, Kathy and Marie. The next one is Apothecary. These are just cutouts from a Halloween, a big scrap pad I purchased at Michael's. So all I did was distress them a little bit. I glued them together, add some of that age tape, and that was perfect for Apothecary. This is one of my favorite tags. It is Costumes and Disguises. And this is a little dog costume that I bought for my foster dog, Donut. He is available for adoption. I'm going to link a Purposeful Rescue and the website below if you live in the Southern California area. He is the sweetest guy. Let me show you a little picture of him in his costume. Oh, come on. That is Donut. He's the sweetest guy. He loves dogs. He's very friendly. He's very sweet. And he is looking for a home through a Purposeful Rescue. It's an LA-based rescue. So if you are interested or if you know somebody who is, he is the sweetest guy who loves costumes. He's good with every dog he meets. He's an absolute angel. So all I did was keep the tag from the little costume, and I stuck a picture of him inside. And if you were looking for that costume, I got it at Target. So the next one is actually Cemetery Gates, and I actually think this one is kind of funny and very clever. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I love Morrissey. Well, I did in the 90s. I can't vouch for Morrissey now. But one of my favorite Smith songs was Through the Cemetery Gates. So I thought since this was called Through the Cemetery, it would be funny to use a picture of Morrissey. And there he is in a cemetery. And I wrote Cemetery Gates. Clever, clever, and a way to add something that is, something I loved from the 90s. So that was Through the Cemetery Gates. The next one is Phantom and Ghouls. So all I did was I have these digitals from Etsy that I had purchased months ago. I just picked some of the more ghosty ones. And so that was my Phantom and Ghouls tag. And I just stapled them on there. But I actually think that looks really cute. I don't know if you can tell, but my staples are kind of a bronzy antique gold. So that's why I use staples so much. I just think they're cute. The next one was Catacombs. And I don't even really know what a catacomb is. So I had this cute sticker from my vintage sticker book or vintage style sticker book. And I just put it on that condemned Tim Holtz tag. And that was good enough for me. The next one was Trick, and it's kind of interesting. Since it's Tricks, I thought, well, it's kind of funny because I had already started working on my Christmas journals, and I already had a Christmas drop. So the trick was going to be that this actually wasn't a Halloween tag at all. The trick is that it's actually a Christmas tag, and those are scraps from the journals I had made. So that's my Trick tag, and that was for day 28. Day 29 was Treats, and this was an actual Hershey's chocolate bar that I had, well, I shared with my daughter. I ate half and she ate half. But that's the actual packaging. I wiped it all down with some Clorox wipes, and then I just glued it onto a Tim Holtz tag. And that was my tag for the 29th. Now, my tag for the 30th is not a tag at all. The day is Halloween traditions. That's the theme. Well, I was kind of stumped. And the night before, I was like, well, what do I do for Halloween traditions? What, you trick or treat? But I've already been talking about trick or treating. I remembered I had this really cute little McDonald's mini replica pumpkin. So I don't know if you could tell, I just added an eye hook and a little bulb pin, and I stuck it right to the fabric. So that is my full tag flip. I loved the whole process. I highly recommend this if you want to um, join any sort of future challenge. This is very doable. It's also very satisfying because you see your tag flip growing. It's something you can do as simple as like less than a minute, or you could make them very, very involved. They don't have to be tags at all. They could just be little plastic pumpkins that you put on the fabric. So I highly recommend this. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to check out the other collaborators. I have linked all of that information down below. There's also other process videos if you wanted to see me make some of these tags. And I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to be a collaborator. So thank you, Kia. I had a wonderful time and I hope to collaborate again. So have a really good day and happy Halloween, friends.